In the previous video with Google Bard, we established that there is a risk to listing agents and brokers if they advise their sellers to offer compensation to buyer's agents. Now I'm going to ask Bard, as we did yesterday, if there's a risk to home sellers of offering compensation to buyer's agents. And then I'm going to ask, what's the advantage? What's the disadvantage? And then I'll talk about what I would do. I'm an attorney and a broker. And these are the questions that I'm asking myself right now. How am I going to help sellers sell a home? I have a conclusion, and we'll get to that. But let's first start this. Is there a risk to home sellers from plaintiffs, lawyers, and from plaintiffs' lawyers if they offer compensation to buyer's agents when they are selling their home? Okay, so we're waiting for Bard. There is definitely a risk to home sellers or plaintiffs' lawyers if they offer compensation to buyer's agents, especially in light of recent developments in the real estate industry. This is a big change from 2 or 3 days ago, by the way. Legal challenges, ongoing litigation, lawsuits, financial damage, reputational damage, mitigating a risk, seek advice. Key takeaway: while offering compensation to buyer's agents might seem enticing, the current legal landscape poses significant risk for home sellers. Seeking legal advice is essential to understanding the specific risks involved and make informed decisions to protect yourself from lawsuits. Okay. Perfect, Google Bard. Boom. Now, we're going to ask, let's follow up. So now there's a risk to home sellers. Now, can sellers sell their home for the highest net if they do not offer compensation to buyer's agents? Now, I'm going to tell you that the correct answer from my experience, and this is absolutely from my experience, is it depends on the market, it depends on the home, depends on how much the seller's looking to get over list price. It depends on whether they've over-improved the property for the area, so the price is worth it, but it might not appraise, and so their buyer's going to have to come in with cash. And it depends on it depends on a lot of circumstances and experience. But undeniably, a seller can sell their home and achieve the same net or even a better net by not offering compensation to buyer's agents. Now, what about listing agents? Well, I've found, I believe that buyers are still going to want to see that home's properly represented. I think there's a better chance you'll get a higher net if you have at least one agent on the deal. Not always, and we can go over that, but let's see what Bard has to say. No simple answer. Market dynamics, negotiating leverage, seller pool, buyer agent prevalence. Oh, that's a good point. And that's really what are buyer's agents going to be willing to work for less or no compensation from sellers? That may change over time, because I know, I think the safe way for MLSs to work in the future is going to be seller concessions. Seller agrees to pay 2% to a buyer, and the buyer may use that as they see fit. All right, which eventually will be buyer's agents telling their buyers, you could use that money to pay me. And the buyer's going to go, well, great, but I'd like one half of that to fix the floors or get a new refrigerator or a new stove, a Viking stove, or whatever it is. And then they're also going to have to get through the hurdle of lenders and whether they're going to allow those concessions, insignificant amounts of money. So pricing strategy, aggressive pricing, flexibility, alternative approaches. Okay, this is one of the new approaches. Flat fees. I would include in that flat fee, in fact, I'm going to explain right now. I didn't expect to see this here, so this caught me a little off guard. I believe the proper we'll get to that in the next question. I don't want to do it yet. Discounted brokers. So it used to be you'd sell your home, it cost you 6%, and then in California, as prices went up over $1 million, they started going to 5.5% or 5%, 2.5% for the listing agent, 2.5% for the buyer agent. I think now a listing agent, if they're smart, is going to follow the two-step listing process I've outlined in previous videos, where the first consultation, the appointment, is all about what that listing agent is going to do to help you sell your home for the most, how they're going to relieve you of the burdens, do all the work, help make sure all the paperwork's done, do the marketing, bring the buyers in, and help you with your negotiating strategy. That's all we're doing today. And for that, this is my fee. It's 2%, 2.5%, whatever. Flat fee, $20,000, $10,000, period. Then I need you to talk to an attorney about the risks of compensating buyer's agents. And then you can come back and we can talk about the timing of when and how we should offer compensation to buyer's agents if we do. It may be advisable in this current market to give it a shot in the price of your home and what you're seeking. Let's see if we get 5 or 10 people into your open house this weekend and if they're interested in buying your home. And then we'll revisit of whether we're going to offer compensation through the MLS on Tuesday. That to me is a very rational approach in some markets. It may be your market's going down right now and you got to do your best to get it sold immediately. And that's going to call for offering compensation to the buyer's agent and taking the risk. And then unquestionably, no doubt on my mind, 100%, every realtor in the country should make sure that that buyer sees a buyer's agent, the buyer, a lawyer, what I'm going to call a buyer's attorney, and the buyer's attorney answers a series of questions in writing for you to certify that buyer. There's just no doubt in my mind, in those circumstances, you're going to want to work with a certified buyer. And it should be part of, it could be, it might not be any more to the seller. It should just be part of the real estate agent's flat fee, or it could be, I think to make it interesting and clear, I might choose round numbers. This is my fee, and then we're going to ask for X for the buyer's agent's fee, because I don't want to even feel like I'm paying for the buyer's agent or the buyer's attorney. I'm not really worried about it. As attorney to attorney, I'm not really worried about it, but I'm trying to make this simple for others. Overall value proposition, legal landscape, expert advice, consult with a real estate attorney and knowledgeable agent to understand your specific market legal implications. That's the model, folks, right there on every deal. If I'm a listing agent, I want my seller to be brought up to speed and sort of being a certified seller. And unquestionably, if we're compensating the buyer's agents, I want the agent to be a certified buyer. Now, what if, and this may be where the market heads, in the next video, we're going to talk about what is the best model where, let's say you're offering, we'll just use percentages instead of flat fees today. Let's say an agent's going to charge you 2% to list your home. And for the first few weeks, they're not going to offer money to the buyer's agent, but a buyer, you're expecting to bring in buyers. Are you going to have your agent say to the buyer, I can't represent you at all. You're going to have to pay for your own realtor? Is that likely to hurt your sales of the homes? Could in some markets, right? It's obvious, human nature. Buyers aren't going to feel comfortable. They're not going to know the paperwork. They're going to go, I think I'd rather go somewhere where I can get an agent or attorney on my team. I think the right move across the board is, even in those circumstances where I say, look, I can facilitate the paperwork. I'm an attorney, so I'm going to be very specific and have it all. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm not going to do. You understand, I'm not your attorney. I am not your real estate agent, but we have gotten you an attorney who also can facilitate the transaction. An attorney with a transaction coordinator, an attorney who's comfortable with the paperwork. We'll be sending the paperwork to your attorney. Your attorney can go over it with you. I will meet your inspectors at the property. I will do things for you. I will do things that will help the sale of the home, but I'm not working for you. I think it'd be the way to do it. And maybe eventually I'll get more comfortable and go back to a dual agency model. But right now, I would be uncomfortable with that. If my client's paying me and I'm doing extra work, it's hard. It's hard. I think we might still allow dual agency. I'll have to think about that more. But unquestionably, if there's a buyer's going to need a buyer attorney on their team, no matter what, if my sellers want to be protected. So home sellers. That's how it works in my practice. That's how it will work if we're helping you find someone to list your home. If I set up a referral agency, if we help find you this team. But this is really it. I think in my videos going forward, we're going to be making sure that there's a real estate attorney and a knowledgeable agent on your team. I think you can sell the home with one agent, buyer's attorney model, but after 2 or 3 weeks, you might go to one agent, one buyer's attorney, and then a buyer agent fee. But in some markets that might be necessary. But let's start off the right way. And the right way to start off all transaction is the one agent with one attorney for the buyer's plan. That's the simple strategy. I need to come up with a catchier name. We might call it the one agent system, the seller's options one agent system. but that's where we need to be. That's where you need to be. I mean, I'm doing this. I'm working through this for my own practice, but I don't see how agents could disagree with me. They're not even legally licensed to tell you that that's not the right model. I would advise in every state that you talk to an attorney, and that's really where this model's going. And I'll just say it right now. I'm convincing myself that I will help sellers anywhere to make sure they use the right model at the given time for their practice, and that will make sure there's an attorney on the buyer's team, an experienced attorney who will answer the questions. Like, this is the key, is that you get the certification from that attorney that would make you feel comfortable. And that could evolve, but I've already got it in my head what it's supposed to be, and we'll do future videos on that. All right, thanks. So right now, I'm at winnerscheck.com, and if you want to talk to us now, like if you're thinking of selling now, just go there, fill out the form, and a member of my team, like in the next few days, I'm going to be snowboarding. So I'll have Phil call you as a real estate agent in my office. He sold 400 homes. He knows, I've been consulting with him on these videos before I do them. He knows where we're going. And then eventually it'll be at Sellers Options too, sellersoptions.com. All right, thanks. John McConnin, real estate attorney and a broker. We're going to be doing more videos on this even right now. They'll be at the website, but they'll also be on YouTube. Thanks.